Welcome, sports fanatics, to the show that rips the lid off the biggest drama in the game. Tonight, we're not just breaking down a playoff game, we're dissecting a viral, Hall of Fame moment that proved the fire of a champion can be more powerful than any analytical spreadsheet. This is the story of a 41-year-old pitching legend, a man nicknamed Mad Max, who was left off the previous playoff roster due to injury. He finally gets his moment on the biggest stage game for the American League Championship Series. And when his manager dared to approach the mound to take the ball, the exchange was pure, unadulterated, unrepeatable gold. We're talking about a fiery, expletive-laden confrontation so intense the manager later joked, "I thought he was gonna kill me." This was the moment the Toronto Blue Jays season was truly saved, not just by a dominant pitching performance, but by one of the most psychotic displays of competitive we'll ever captured on camera. Get ready, because the details of this mound visit are more explosive than a ninth-inning grand slam. Let's set the stage. The Toronto Blue Jays were in a deep, dark hole. They had lost the first two games of the ALCS at home and came into the cauldron of T-Mobile Park in Seattle down to 2-1 to the Seattle Mariners. The pressure was immense. Losing game for would mean facing elimination, and their star-studded defense had been strangely quiet. Their season was on life support, their back against the wall, and the entire city of Toronto was holding its breath. Who did they hand the ball to in this do-or-die scenario? The three-time Cy Young winner, the legend, Max Scherzer. But Scherzer was not his usual self. At 41 years old, he had just been reactivated after being left off the previous Division Series roster due to a concerning neck issue. His final regular season starts were ugly, a shadow of the Mad Max we all knew. The question wasn't if he had enough left in the tank, it was how little he had left. He was starting his 500th Major League game, a monumental career milestone. But the stakes were infinitely higher than any simple number. He got off to a rocky start, giving up an early home run and a couple of walks. The tension was palpable. Every pitch felt like a fire waiting to ignite, and the bullpen phone was already ringing. But as the game went on, something shifted. The veteran right-hander settled in, found his legendary intensity, and actually seemed to get better. He even turned back the clock to execute a gorgeous pickoff move, nailing a runner at first base, something he hadn't done since 2013. He was dealing, grinding through every pitch count, and his curveball, a pitch he rarely relied on, was generating an unlikely number of swings and misses, a true sign of his genius adjustment. Then came the fifth inning. The Blue Jays had built a comfortable 5-1 lead thanks to some timely hitting, including another postseason bomb from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. With 2 outs in the bottom of the fifth, Scherzer was at the plate, battling Mariners outfielder Randy Arozarena. The pitch count was climbing, and his pitch count was nearing the limit that the front office and the analytics department had predetermined for the aged ace. Manager Schneider saw the rising tension, saw the pitch total, and made the universal managerial move. He started his long, slow walk from the dugout to the mound. Every baseball fan knows what that walk means. Your night is done. Hand over the ball. But Mad Max did not appreciate the stroll. Not one bit. As Schneider approached the hill, the world watched a confrontation for the ages. Scherzer saw his manager coming and immediately went into full-blown alpha predator mode. The manager, Schneider, later revealed the hilarious, fiery, and completely unhinged dialogue. Schneider's rule of thumb for his starters is simple. If I walk to the mound, you're coming out. If I jog, you can talk me out of it. Well, Schneider started to walk. According to Schneider, Scherzer's immediate reaction was a resounding, furious "No." Seeing the fury in the pitcher's eyes and being a smart manager, Schneider immediately aborted the walk and transitioned to the jog rule. The confrontation went down like this, filled with NSFW language that perfectly captured the moment. Scherzer: "I'm good. I'm F*** good." Schneider: Are you sure?" Scherzer: "Yeah." Schneider: "You better F*** execute then." Scherzer: "I F*** will." Scherzer was literally screaming at his manager, both of his famously colored eyes locked in a terrifying stare. It wasn't a debate. It was a demand. It was a Hall of Famer asserting his will over logic, analytics, and organizational strategy. As the manager put it, "He locked eyes with me, both colors, as I walked out, and it's not fake. That's the thing. I thought he was going to kill me." The infielders, who had a front row seat to the explosion, couldn't help but crack up, realizing they were witnessing a moment pure baseball legend. John Schneider did what any manager should do when faced with a furious, competitive legend. He trusted him over statistics. He turned around, walked back to the dugout, and left Max Scherzer on the mound. And what did Mad Max do? He delivered exactly what he promised. He refocused completely and terrifyingly on Randy Arozarena, and with a devastating, sweeping curveball, the pitch that had worked so well for him all night, froze Arozarena for a massive strikeout that ended the 5th inning. He didn't just get the out, he executed with a precision and fury that backed up every syllable. He had just yelled at his manager. The sight was incredible. Scherzer smacking his glove, roaring with intensity as he walked off the field, yelling something up the dugout steps, probably another victorious curse word, and the Blue Jays bench erupting in cheers. This was the moment the energy of the entire series shifted. It wasn't just a physical out, it was a psychological victory that told the entire league, this team won't go down quietly. Scherzer came out for the 6th inning, got to more outs, and only then, after a walk and a truly exhausted pitch count, did John Schneider finally come out and successfully get him out, this time without protest. However, the damage had been done. Scherzer pitched 5.2 innings, allowing only 2 runs on 3 hits, and gave his bullpen a huge break while igniting the team's championship spirit. The Blue Jays finished with a comfortable 8-2 victory, tying the ALCS at 2-2. The post-game interviews were just as valuable. Scherzer admitted that the visit took him by surprise. I was like, wow, I'm not going to get out of this game. I feel too good. So we had a little conversation. I knew he wanted the ball. Schneider laughed, visibly moved that his pitcher had demanded the ball and handed it over. I've been waiting all year for that, for Max to yell at me on the mound. He trusted people. That's why he's going to the Hall of Fame. The manager was later seen patting Scherzer on the back and joking, "All right, you fucking psycho, get in there," as Scherzer headed off to his own press conference. This single, furious mound visit, this moment of genuine high-stakes confrontation, will be remembered forever. It wasn't just baseball strategy. It was the story of a champion who refused to give up, trusted his instincts over numbers, and successfully terrorized his own manager into keeping him in the game. It was Mad Max at his best, and it could be the spark that leads the Blue Jays all the way to the World Series. This is how a chapter in baseball history is written: the fury, the profanity, and the ultimate vindication of a Hall of Fame contender. The American League Championship Series is tied and heading to a possible Game 5, all thanks to a manager who knew when to let his psychopathic ace shine. Don't miss the next episode and be sure to subscribe, because when the biggest news breaks, we're here to bring you all the electrifying and sensational details. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more sports and video game news.